Carla Magdalena Ocaña Ojeda. She's asking you, Jennifer, how challenging was it to perform in scenes where you were the sole visible character interacting only with the AI?
Yeah, I remember somebody was saying that Jodie Foster, when she did Contact, said that was the hardest acting that she ever had to do because she just had to do it by herself and she had to use her whole imagination, and that's just what it was. And I remember thinking when I read the script, oh, esto va a ser muy fácil. This is gonna be an easy job for me. It's gonna be me by myself. I'm gonna, I don't have to wait for anybody. I can show up, do my thing, couple of takes, go home. And it was so exhausting to kind of stay at this level of adrenaline of like, your life is over, you have to save the planet, you're in a life and death situation the whole entire time, that at the end of the day, I would just be so exhausted, not just emotionally, but physically, like from just like tensing up my body and throwing myself this way and that way and doing all these things and trying to concentrate and seeing things that weren't there and all these kinds of stuff. So yeah, I would walk home every day with what I would call the tired limp, which is, you're limping. Usually you limp because you're hurt, but when you limp because you're tired, you're kind of like just a limp from being exhausted. That's how I walk to my trailer every single night. So
I feel so bad right now.
It was exhausting, but it was also exhilarating in a lot of ways because it was a new type of thing that I had never done.
Simu, I have a question for you. This is my question. I want to know not the differences, but the similarities in playing a doll and AI. Are there any? I mean, you can talk about the difference as well if you'd like.
Well,
The doll is more cute.
Yeah,
Why do you have to be so cute?
I don't remember Ken wanting
One's
to the world.
One kind of surfs and does beach all day, and then at night does we party and we have choreographed dance sequences.
So fun.
And the other one is trying to obliterate humanity. So
Right, yeah.
that's kind of tough to find similarities, I guess.
Because you're bringing to life both inanimate.
Neither of them have genitals. I did it. I found a similarity.
Thank you.
You're a genius.
No, ¿cómo dice genitals?
Genitales.
Genitales.
Ninguno genitales.
Ken y Harlan no tiene genitales.
Sí, se lo estaban preguntando. Ahora lo sabemos. Gracias, Simu.
De nada.
So we got a question from Milenio here in Mexico, Rosa Solano. Jennifer, in the film, your character distrusts artificial intelligence and has to work alongside it on a special mission. In real life, how much do you trust new technologies and how do you incorporate them into your daily activities? And I'm just going to go ahead and ask all of you guys the same question.
I zoned out because the question was for Jen. What was the question?
It's like, how do we use technology in our everyday lives and how do we embrace it?
And if you guys trust new technologies.
And do we trust it?
I'm not like a super technical guy, actually. I mean, everyone thinks like because I do lots of visual effects and explosions and stuff, I am, but I'm not. I'm actually more of like a pencil and light board, and like I come from animation, so.
Do you talk to your devices?
No,
I don't.
I don't talk to my devices at all.
So weird.
Yeah.
People turn on the lights. It's kind of weird.
Do you guys use
People love it though.
GPT for anything?
I don't.
Yeah, I've started using ChatGPT to come up with travel itineraries for me. Like if I'm going somewhere, I'll be like, give me like a 3-day itinerary of Palermo, Italy, or like, Mexico City, 3 days. What would I do? And GPT will like tell you, you can say.
Tell me where are the best places to shop and all that.
Yes, as long as it's before 2022 or wherever GPT goes up to. But it will. You can say this is where I'm staying. Find me an itinerary where like I'm not bouncing around the city, like where everything kind of makes sense, everything flows, and it'll spit something out.
That's amazing.
Terrifying, but.
So you do trust them?
I don't think I trust. Yeah, I'm not like divulging my deepest, darkest secrets, but I think we're on the precipice of like quite a revolutionary moment when it comes to AI. You know, I think we all feel it. I think a lot of us in the entertainment industry feel it. A lot of us in the arts feel it. And yeah, I think scary is a great word, and I think it's imperative to me that we keep in mind humanity always comes first, and that decision making should always. I think Harlan is the perfect example of why AI should never be used for decision making. We should never let algorithms and data be the decision-making leaders. I mean, we should use those things to enhance and to as tools and to inform, exactly, but never to lead. You know, I don't want to work in an industry where every single creative decision is made by data or an algorithm. I want these decisions to be made by passion and human emotion. You know, there's a filmmaker who loves to tell a story. This is the story they want to tell. Like that's the movie that we should make. And if the story is true and the emotionality is there and the character is good, then people will watch it. Those things can't be quantified by data.
I had an interesting experience because I worked with a couple of futurists before we made the movie, and it was to do everything like talk about like weapon systems, propulsion systems, ecology. Like I didn't want to show Los Angeles in the beginning of the movie like you'd seen it like with Mad Max or something where it's all sand dunes. Like I wanted to try to figure out what would really happen in probably about 100 years, and that's why you see these giant arrays for solar power in our version of Los Angeles. And he had a really interesting thing that he said to me about AI, and it sort of was my true north for making the movie, and it was very much in line with what I wanted to do intuitively, which was, he said, AI is a tool. It's like a hammer. A hammer can do a lot of harm, and a hammer can do a lot of good, you know? Like you could build a house with a hammer and save lives. And when he said that to me, I realized that's exactly what I want to do. I want to show that AI is something that's basically here today now, but it doesn't excuse us people from being responsible. We are the responsible entities of it. It is a tool. We have to take ourselves in full responsibility of how we use it. And this movie shows that. It shows the full good of it and how humanity can grow and expand and go way beyond itself. And then it shows how nasty Simu can be and try to kill everybody.
Please don't kill us.
Well, I promise.
So we have another question from Argentina, Magela Muso. This question's for you, Brad. At a time when there is widespread discussion about the negative impacts of AI, what message do you hope to convey to audiences about how we use technology and AI? Additionally, which film had the most influence on you while making this movie?
I feel like I just covered the AI part of it, right? The biggest influence, so, you know, I've said this and it's I mean, there's a lot. When you go in and you're a big fan of science fiction, there's a lot of movies that you grew up on, like some really abstract ones that people will never have heard of, like Robot Jox. You'd have to be a real nerd like me to know what that is. But for me, the biggest influence is actually a filmmaker, and it's James Cameron. I saw Terminator 2 when I was 13, and I went to Subway and bought the cup that had the Terminator. Like it was a big deal. Like that was a huge movie. That might have been the movie of that summer, you know. And after I saw the movie, I lived in a small town, 9,000 people, called Gander, Newfoundland. It's where all the planes landed during 9/11. That's the only reason people know where it is at all. And after that movie, I realized James Cameron was Canadian. And that was the moment, as a kid, I was like, oh, you could come from Canada and go to Hollywood and be a filmmaker. And before that moment, I had no idea that was possible. You know, when you grow up and your mom's a nurse and your dad owns a flower nursery and there's 9,000 people and you live on a highway, you don't think, oh, I can go do that, you know? But when I saw that movie, I thought, oh, I maybe I can do that one day. That part of it touched me as a person in a way, and I just locked onto that. And his movies have been so inspiring for me, from Aliens to Terminator 2, and then, you know, he goes and makes Titanic and Avatar. But I would say James Cameron's work in general has been the biggest influence. Specifically, I'd say Aliens. Like when I got to shoot Harlan's lair at the end of this movie, I was so happy because it vibed like Aliens. I was like, this is amazing. This is my dream come true. So yeah.
I watched Terminator 2 like 70 times, I'm not even kidding, but that's a conversation for another day. We only have time for one more question, and this is for you, Jennifer. We are in a crucial moment for women, and Atlas is the heroine that we all would like to be. In what way do you think Atlas represents the current women who are saving the world?
do I think Atlas represents women saving the world? I mean, I feel like we've been saving the world from the beginning of time. So, women, you know, I think Atlas is a great character. I think because of all of the toughness that she shows initially and all of the kind of fearlessness about going against, you know, kind of the powers that be, which is what you have to be a woman. That's what it is to be a woman. You have to kind of go against the grain. You have to fight harder. You have to do these things. But also for her tremendous vulnerability and her tremendous kind of pain that she carries. I feel that as women, that is a big part of our journey as well. And she represents both sides of that in a really beautiful way, I think. And where she gets to at the end, you know, having started where she started, and then Smith kind of chipping away at her, getting inside that hard exterior that she's had to have her whole life, because everybody thinks she's crazy, nobody wants to listen to her. This is like experience that women have all the time. You know, she's criticized,
There's a lot of men in this movie that don't believe you.
That don't believe her. You know, and I can understand and relate to that, and I know a lot of other women can too, especially in my own business, you know. You're criticized, you're put down, you're laughed at when you don't, you know, succeed, and then when you succeed, they want to tear it down. You know, there's always this thing as a woman, and especially as a Latina, to kind of in this business, to be taken seriously, to, you know, be working at the highest echelons of your industry and what that comes with. And I think Atlas really represents all of the greatest parts of women, their vulnerability and their strength and courage.
Well said, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dime, ¿qué te pasa?
Is real. Your divorce, Ben Affleck is real.
Okay, we're not doing that. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
You know better than that.
Come on, don't come in here with that energy, please. Thank you so much.
Gracias, muchas gracias a todos. Llegamos ya al final de la conferencia de prensa. No olviden, por favor, bailar sus
You know what doesn't, I feel like, actually get mentioned enough, if I could just end on one thing, is that Jen is a producer on this movie. And the reason why I'm here and the reason why Sterling was in this beautiful movie is because Jen cares. And Jen cares about things like representation and diversity. And she's a boss. And she's an incredible creator and icon, and that's what I think we should celebrate her for today.
Thank you so much. Muchas gracias a Brad Payton, muchas gracias a Simu Liu y también a Jennifer López, por supuesto. Gracias. Recuerden que este 24 de mayo estrena Atlas en Netflix. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, guys. Los quiero. Gracias. Nadie me preguntó nada en español, pero ok.